This is the first time Bugatti has ever had to fight a customer over independent repairs on a car they were hoping to bring back in for their usual high quotes and extravagant repair costs, but it backfired. They basically said, "Okay, since you don't want to cooperate, you'll have to buy our parts at our own prices," because they thought they had full control over the supply chain for the parts needed. But to their greatest surprise, they got outsmarted. Matt maneuvered through their system and found alternative, hidden supply chains for the parts he needed. Some private companies even offered to assist him with certain parts if Bugatti decided to play tough. Then, when Bugatti finally saw they couldn't stop Matt through parts supply, they used their CEO to push safety claims, saying Matt couldn't fix the car in a garage because he didn't have the required tools. They also used the airbag threats to try to stop the rebuild, but it worked against them because this is where they hit a stumbling block. Matt responded with experience and struck back in a smart, exposing manner. Since then, Bugatti has gone silent, and now they seem to be weighing up possible legal action against Alex and Matt if they can. Subscribe now because this story is about to get serious. What started as a battle over repair costs quickly turned into an all-out war over control. Bugatti tried blocking Matt from parts, claiming they owned the only viable supply chains. Matt found alternative routes, some through secret channels, others through private companies willing to step in if Bugatti played hardball. When the parts strategy failed, Bugatti pivoted to safety claims. The garage wasn't equipped, the tools weren't certified, the airbags were a liability. They painted the rebuild as reckless. Matt responded publicly, dismantling every argument with evidence and transparency. Bugatti went silent. Now, behind closed doors, they're reportedly weighing legal action against both Matt and his partner Alex. The tension is building, the public is watching, and the stakes have never been higher. But none of that was the real problem. The real problem was hiding inside the gearbox. Once Matt finally got the gearbox out and onto the bench, everything changed. The damage wasn't just bad, it was catastrophic. Gears shredded, bearings obliterated. Components that should have lasted the lifetime of the car were destroyed beyond recognition. This wasn't a simple fix. This was engineering surgery on one of the most complex transmissions ever built. Matt's done impossible rebuilds before. Lamborghinis, Ferraris, McLarens. But this was different. Even he admitted it. This gearbox is one of the hardest challenges he's ever faced. And Bugatti knew it. They'd already made it clear. Repairs like this can only be handled at a select few specialist facilities in the world. The implication was obvious. Your garage doesn't qualify. The pressure was immense. The complexity was off the charts. And the entire project was now hanging by a thread. And he only has two possible ways to even attempt fixing it. For years, Bugatti has controlled the narrative around their cars. If something breaks, you bring it to them. If they say it can't be fixed independently, you believe them. The entire ecosystem is built on the idea that these machines are untouchable, too advanced, too specialized, too dangerous for anyone outside the official network to handle. Matt attempting this repair alone cracks that narrative wide open. He's not a certified Bugatti technician. He doesn't have factory training. He's working out of a garage in the UK with a small team and a growing YouTube audience. And yet, he's attempting what Bugatti claimed was nearly impossible. The moment he started documenting the gearbox teardown, the public attention exploded. People weren't just watching a car repair, they were watching a challenge to authority. They were watching someone question whether the impossible label was real, or just protective. But the moment he opened the gearbox, everything got worse. This isn't just about fixing a car anymore. It's one independent garage versus a billion-dollar automotive empire. It's a YouTuber with hand tools versus a brand that builds machines worth millions. And the entire world is watching to see who blinks first. The stakes have shifted. This rebuild isn't just personal, it's symbolic. Every time Matt posts an update, thousands of people tune in, not just to see progress, but to see if he can actually pull it off. If he succeeds, it changes the conversation around right to repair. If he fails, Bugatti's position gets reinforced. The pressure is crushing. Every decision matters. Every mistake is public. And the gearbox, the single most critical component in the entire rebuild, is sitting in pieces on his workbench. And the damage inside might be the one thing that decides the entire project. What Matt's doing goes beyond mechanical skill. He's attempting to prove that repairs like this don't have to be locked behind brand-controlled gates. That independent shops, with the right knowledge and resources, can handle even the most complex work. That customers should have a choice in where and how their cars get fixed. Bugatti's business model relies on exclusivity, not just in who can buy the cars, but in who can service them. The moment someone outside that system successfully completes a repair this advanced, it raises uncomfortable questions. Questions about pricing, questions about access, questions about who really controls the car after it's sold. This rebuild has become a test case, and every move Matt makes is being analyzed, criticized, and celebrated in equal measure. But this is where the Gearbox problem turns from mechanical to reputational. The more progress Matt shows publicly, the more the narrative shifts. What started as impossible is slowly becoming attemptable. And that shift threatens everything Bugatti has built around exclusivity and control. If a guy in a garage with a camera crew can rebuild a Bugatti gearbox, what does that say about the specialized facilities argument? What does that say about the repair costs? What does that say about the safety claims? Bugatti can't afford for this to succeed too visibly. And Matt knows it. Every upload is a statement. Every teardown video is evidence. Every successfully sourced part is a crack in the wall. The public is watching. The pressure is mounting. And the gearbox, still disassembled, still uncertain, is the final test. And one of the two gearbox options carries serious risk. Matt's not coming into this blind. He's rebuilt totaled supercars that dealerships wrote off as unsalvageable. He's sourced impossible parts. He's fabricated solutions where none existed. His track record is long, public, and proven. But Bugatti's authority isn't built on track record. It's built on certification, on brand power, on the weight of engineering legacy. They don't just claim expertise, they claim exclusivity, and that's a different kind of power. This battle isn't just about who's right. It's about who gets to define what's possible. Matt's experience says he can do this, Bugatti's authority says he can't, and the gearbox is the proving ground. But even with all that experience, this might be his toughest moment yet. There's no going back now. The car is in pieces, the gearbox is open, the damage is documented. Matt's already committed to the rebuild publicly, with millions of people watching every step. Even if he wanted to walk away, the attention won't let him. He's reached the point of no return. The gearbox has to be fixed. There's no dealer to call, no Bugatti service center willing to step in, no official lifeline. It's just him, his team, and two possible approaches to solving a problem that most people would never attempt in the first place. One option is safer, but slower. The other is faster, but riskier. Both require precision. Both require parts that may or may not be accessible. And both carry the weight of everything this rebuild has become. And choosing the wrong repair path could stop everything. The gearbox decision isn't just mechanical, it's strategic. It's the difference between proving Bugatti wrong and proving them right. It's the difference between a successful rebuild and a very public failure. And Matt knows that one wrong move, one miscalculation, one failed part could end the entire project. He's staring down two options. Both are difficult, both are uncertain, and the pressure has never been higher. The world is watching, Bugatti is watching, and the next move will decide everything. And now, with only two options left, the next move could decide whether this rebuild survives or fails.